Welcome to the NCDWI Guide podcast, where defenders of the Constitution assemble to prepare for courtroom battle and firm owners gather to develop marketing strategies that will revolutionize the practice of criminal defense. Here's your host, the NCDWI guy, Jake Minnick.
Hello, fellow freedom fighters, and welcome to episode 19 of the NCDWI Guy podcast. Today, we are talking about work-life balance. Missed last week's episode, posting last week's episode because my work was not in balance with the rest of my life. It was not a major part of the scale last week. We were moving homes, and in the chaos that is moving, I was not able to record and post an episode last week. So saved it for this week, and it's going to be a good one. We're talking about work-life balance today. And one of the inspirations for today's podcast is that today, August 26th, I am celebrating my 14th wedding anniversary with my beautiful wife, Laura. She is my rock, my foundation for everything that I do in life, including having carried me through law school and carried me through the many years of practicing law that has gotten us to this point. She is my everything, and that is part of kind of why we're talking today about the importance of having a good life balance. I think that work-life balance is a misleading name. It's not an accurate representation of how you should live your life, because really your life should be balanced. Your life should be balanced. And work is one part of your life. But by saying work-life balance, particularly with work being on the front end of that terminology, it puts way too high a level of importance on work. If your life is in balance, your work is going to be in balance. Work should be at the service of your life, of your family, of your faith, of your community. It shouldn't be such a big part of your life that it is kind of your identifier, and you basically have to choose between work on the one hand and life on the other hand. If work is so separated from life in your individual day-to-day execution, then you're not living rightly and you're not working rightly. So to kind of put to rest what I think is a real poor term of work-life balance, today we are going to talk about the importance of life balance, having your life centered on the right things. When we talk to clients in the courtroom about a DWI or criminal charge, when we talk to clients that come into the office, we go through what the consequences are going to look like as it relates to their charge. And we focus probably primarily on the criminal consequences, what's going to happen in the courtroom. And then we focus also on the driving consequences, your license. How is this going to impact your work? One thing that I think we spend too little time on is, what does this mean in your individual circumstances? What does this look like for your individual life? We are doing our clients a disservice if we are not discussing with them the life consequences of the DWI. How is this going to impact what you do from day to day? Are you going through a child custody battle right now? Are you in the process of moving to a different state? What does your family think about this charge? These are all things that emotionally may actually mean a lot more than understanding the courtroom and the driving consequences of the charge. It doesn't mean those things are unimportant. It just means we need to take a more holistic approach to how this charge is impacting the person's life. Just as that is the case with the client coming into the courtroom, we need to have a holistic approach to how work is a part of our bigger picture life. Back in episode 1 of the podcast, we talked about the importance of having a why statement for your firm. Very powerful episode. I think really was a lot of fun to record episode 1. It's something to me that is very important. I'm sure that we will revisit the why theme at some point in the future, but having a why understanding of your business, of your firm, is critical to being able to have a living organization, to have an organization that has a purpose, that has a mission, that you can communicate to employees and to people outside of your firm. The why is important. On the flip side, and what we're going to talk about today, is the importance of why are you working in the firm? It's almost like the kind of employee mentality to your business. How is your legal practice serving your life? How is your legal practice making your life more balanced, your life more centered? If you are being pulled more and more into the practice of law, into work at the expense of living, then you need to revisit your work. You need to revisit the priorities that are in place in your life and where work sits on the totem pole. How are you going to serve your employees, your clients, the people in the community, other professionals that you work with? How are you going to serve these people if your own life is out of balance, if you are worn out from work, if you don't find purpose and mission in your work, if your work is not at the service of your life? You're not going to be able to serve the needs of others when work is putting your life out of balance, off kilter. This is why, as a firm, we focus on quarterly professional goals and personal goals. It's really a pretty cool thing. We have a big spreadsheet of each employees, each team member's professional goals and what they're working on for the quarter, so that we can hold one another accountable to these goals. We have accountability partners that help us through our quarter's goals, but we also have personal goals. And those same accountability partners are responsible for holding each other accountable for the personal goals, because we don't want to just be growing the organization. We want to be growing the team members that are working in the organization. We want to be growing ourselves. We cannot grow as an organization without growing ourselves individually, without challenging ourselves to become more fulfilled human beings, without reaching the true potential that we each have as individuals. You can't expect anybody in your office to treat work as the most important thing in your life or in their life, because it's not the most important thing in their life. If you go through any team members, any of your employees' Facebook accounts, look at the last 10 posts. How many of those 10 posts were related to work? How many of their last 10 posts were related to work? Probably 0. How many are related to their life, to their kids, to their spouses, to things that they're doing, to places that they're going and visiting? Probably all of those last 10 posts. And that's because their life is actually in balance. That's what's important. Work for those people, for the people of your team, should be at the service of their lives. It should be one way that they fulfill their human potential. And so we want to hold each other accountable at our organization, at the firm, by having lofty personal goals as well as professional goals. At the end of the day, you can only be a better lawyer, a better business person, a better practitioner if you become a better human being. You have to constantly be working on growing yourself as a human being if you want to provide better service. If you want to give your clients the best of yourself, you have to make yourself better. You have to constantly be leveling up the bar. And you do that in the work context through leveling yourself up, but also through helping your team level up. Yes, as a team, as an organization with high and lofty professional goals, but also as people, as individuals, upping your individual potential. Spend time thinking about how, not about work-life balance. Again, that's a silly term. Work isn't, this thing that's on the same playing field as life. You want to make sure your life is balanced. And again, work is one piece of the puzzle of having your life in balance, but it's not some sort of like super lofty part of that entire equation. Sit down and make sure that work is at the service of your life. Make sure that you are going to become a better lawyer by becoming a better human being. Look forward to talking with you next time. Hope you enjoyed today's episode of the podcast. If you did, please share the podcast with another freedom fighter in the criminal defense community, and be sure to leave us a rating on iTunes. See you next time.